Welcome to the beginning of a series. I am just gonna that is just me reading out short stories written by myself. To start off, we are going to have a short horror story, which is actually going to be a series, and it's going to start with a short 1,000 word story simply called Do You Want to Play a Game? Which is inspired by the Saw franchise, and if somebody were to be inspired by John Kramer and to be that self righteous a hole that went and tried to prove to people that life, you gotta fight for it if you won't really want to live. Anyways, let's get to the story. I remember the day like it was yesterday. It was late October. The baseball season had just ended, and the Dodgers had won the World Series. I was expecting my friend to come by and tease me about it, so when my phone rang, I wasn't expecting anything out of the ordinary. But when I pulled out my phone out of my pocket and looked at the screen, it was an unknown number. Even though it was the right area code, I declined the call as I wasn't expecting any. Shortly afterwards, the phone rang again. I looked down and it was the same number. I declined the call once more and thought to myself that if they called again, I'd just tell them to get lost. So when my phone rang again, I answered and hastily said, "Who is this?" Silence. Other than Other than the movie I had on in the other room, there were no sounds. Look, I don't know who you are, but check if you have the wrong number or something, man. I then hung up and thought to myself, could someone be playing a trick on me? Maybe it was one of my friend's younger siblings was Maybe one of my friend's younger siblings was prank calling me from another phone after getting my number. As I thought of the possibilities, I heard a loud knock at my front door. I walked over to the door and looked through the people. Nothing. Ding dong ditchers. This had to be some kids playing tricks. All I wanted was a reaction, so I just went back to my movie. Roughly an hour later, sometime past 10 o'clock, the movie ended and I got ready to go to bed. I took the bowl I had used for popcorn earlier to the kitchen and washed it before going upstairs to my bedroom. I checked my phone and several text messages from Charlie were sent. I unlocked my phone and checked the messages. They started out ordinary, Charlie celebrating the win that the Dodgers had, but they slowly grew more concerned. Hey James, who is that standing outside across the street from your house? I've checked a few times and they've been there for at least the past hour. I scrolled past, growing concerned myself, and continued to read. The guy across the street and is just staring at your place. I looked out the window and saw nothing, but then I heard a glass shatter from downstairs. My phone vibrated and a message came from the number was from the number from earlier. I opened the message and it had an image of the doll from the Saw movies and a message that read, "Want to play a game, James?" I ran over to my door and locked it and texted Charlie. "Are you awake?" Thank God. Seconds later, I saw that he was typing. "Yeah, what's up?" I looked around the room for a weapon, spotting the metal baseball bat leaning against my dresser. Someone just broke into my house. Could be the guy you were talking about earlier. I'm gonna call the police. BRB. I quickly opened the phone app and typed 911 and hit call. As I waited, I heard footsteps downstairs, and right after I heard the TV turn on downstairs, the operator answered. 911, what's your emergency? Someone broke into my house. What's your address? I gave the operator my address, and they said, alright, we have an officer coming. Have you gotten into a safe place? Yes, I'm in my bedroom. Alright, do you have a weapon to defend yourself? Yes, a metal baseball bat. Okay, wait until the authorities get there and defend yourself if needed. Stay on the call so I can make sure that you're safe. Okay. I waited, phone sat on my dresser and bat in my hands. I wondered what the person meant by a game, and the answer would come. I heard the sound of my phone hanging up and quickly checked it. My signal had dropped. Perfect. I then heard a voice on the other side of the door say, James, would you say that you've lived your life to the fullest? I thought to myself for a minute. If the guy was on the same level of self-righteousness as John Kramer, he'd be looking for someone that was thankful for their life. For the most part, yes, but I'd like to continue that. I then heard a laugh from the other side as the guy perfect said perfect. I then heard the sound of sirens, my saving grace. Presumably in response to the sirens, a person started to attempt to break down the door. Within 30 seconds, I was able to tell that they were using an axe as it started to break through the door. I looked at my bat and prepared to swing, but I heard the sound of cars parking outside. If it took half a minute for them to get here, they should be here any second. Even then, the person would likely get through soon. I stood my ground, waiting for them to reach for the door handle. I then heard the police knock on the front door, announcing themselves. The person attempted to reach through the hole in the door for the handle, and in response, I slammed the bat down on their hand. The person on the other side loudly yelled a swear. Their hand quickly pulled back out from the door as the police broke through the front downstairs, but then several gunshots rang out and laughter from the other side of the door. I thought to myself that this was the end. I wasn't getting out of here alive. Then, before I could figure out what I could do next, I heard a sound come from my closet. Those bastards were in my room, and there were multiple of them. I yelled out, "Come on out, you pussies! Kill me! Come and kill me already!" But a simple response came from the other side of the door. "This is only the beginning, James." The door to my closet opened and someone fired a taser, causing me to seize up and fall to the ground. They tied me up and said, "You will earn your life tonight or die trying." I then passed out, wishing I had taken up Charlie on the offer to go to the Dodgers game.